Hi, I'm Haley Perot, and this is Northwest Newsweek. Premier Doug Ford made a surprise announcement this week for the Geraldton District Hospital. Ford pledged $8.5 million for hospital upgrades during a stop on his tour of the Greenstone area. Justin Hardy caught up with the Premier and has this report.
We're going to give them another $8.5 million for long-term care beds, another $500,000 for more nurse practitioners. So,
wow.
And it wasn't expected. I just can't say no.
That's awesome.
Most of that money will be used to renovate roughly 10,000 square feet of unused space at the Geraldton District Hospital to create a new outpatient facility, a lab, and house a new CT scanner. Having those services in the new space will then allow the hospital to convert 6 former hospital bedrooms into long-term care spaces. The news comes as quite a shock to hospital administration, according to board chair Eric Peach.
During today's site tour, he announced to the CAO, Daryl, and myself that he was going to push for this project and that he was excited about it. And then within minutes of leaving, he called me and said he'd made some phone calls and that he was going to do his best to make it happen. And then minutes following that, he announced it publicly at his next media event.
Ford's visit to Greenstone was originally meant to focus on upgrades to Highway 584, which runs between Geraldton and Nakina. The route also serves Arrowland First Nation, headed by longtime chief Sonny Gagnon. That highway will be a key connection to the eventual road to the Ring of Fire mining area. There was a bulldozer at the announcement site, but Ford chose instead to jump inside an excavator for the photo op. The province partnered with local First Nations to replace 7 culverts along Highway 584 this past summer, with 26 more planned next year before the entire road is repaved. Ford says this road is crucial to upcoming development in the region.
I think it's a game changer and just allows people to be able to come here. And I think Chief Sonny, I want to thank him and all the chiefs. I'm very grateful. Like I just said, I have a special spot in my heart for this community, unlike any other community. I love them all, but I love this community a little more. And I just want to thank the leadership through Minister Greg Rickford as well. He's done an incredible job. It's a real team effort here, and I just feel part of the family.
There's been plenty of speculation that announcements like these are a sign of a snap election being called in the next few months, but Ford wouldn't reveal much about that possibility.
With all of this movement going on in the region, are we starting to think of a date for a potential election at this point?
No, I'm not worried about that. I'm just worried about taking care of the community.
Justin Hardy, TBT News.
The hospital in Kenora is finally getting its own magnetic resonance imaging machine. Until now, people in that part of the region had to travel to Thunder Bay or other parts of Ontario to receive an MRI. Kenora Rainy River MPP Greg Rickford made the announcement Tuesday at Lake of the Woods District Hospital. The Ford government will spend $7.6 million to build a state-of-the-art MRI suite in an existing space at the hospital, which currently has only a CT scanner. Rickford says he personally understands the need for high-level diagnostic imaging in Kenora after having to travel to Thunder Bay for an MRI when he had a hip replacement. He says the new unit will provide more timely access to care and will also free up capacity at Thunder Bay Regional.
The magnetic resonance imaging for Kenora was the missing piece of the puzzle. The ability to get that diagnostic test there for a variety of clinical conditions, in my case orthopedics, is really now the reason we can stay at home. Right? We can have our diagnostics done there, we can have our surgeries or our any other medical programming done there. So we're just thrilled, and to the tune of $7.6 million, we're creating a space that was available at the hospital, renovating it.
In a statement, Lake of the Woods CEO Cheryl O'Flaherty says they're grateful to Rickford for supporting the MRI project and recognizing the need to enhance service access in that part of Northern Ontario. O'Flaherty says the MRI suite should be completed and ready for patients sometime next summer. Ganoogaming First Nation remains under a state of emergency following the closure of the bridge into the community. Chief Sherry Taylor claims Ontario's Indigenous Affairs Minister has not reached out to her personally since the state of emergency was declared. Justin Hardy has more.
It's hard on them, it's hard on all of us.
Ganoogaming Chief Sherry Taylor declared the state of emergency after an inspection of the Making Ground River Bridge ended with the recommendation to close the bridge to vehicle traffic. The only other route to Long Lac by vehicle is a 50-kilometer dirt road that is not well maintained. Community members have been making do by leaving vehicles on one side of the bridge and crossing by foot to be picked up on the other side. Ontario Minister of Indigenous Affairs Greg Rickford says the province has been attempting to work with the community and the federal government on a solution to the community's long-standing bridge issues.
So we've approved a terms of reference that we've given back to the community to go over. It's a proposal for a tripartite table to work through the bridge. It's very important for us. The chief has always made that clear. And we're just hopeful that the federal government will join us at that table, but we'll let the community give us feedback on the terms of reference and take it from there. So we're taking action, and we appreciate Chief Taylor.
The First Nation has received the terms of reference, but Taylor says that comes from the last time she brought it up to the Premier, 5 months before the situation surrounding the bridge devolved into a state of emergency.
It started with in Canada's hands and moved on to Ontario, and it sat with Ontario for some time. And, it is not until this SOE came, the state of emergency, that I said, okay, where's our terms of reference? Why don't I have it yet? And it's been taking such a long time for me to get this so our team can take a look at it. And yet these terms of reference, I find they're made without us, It's something that's given to me now to look at.
Taylor says that other than an invite to a Ford Media event, the community has not had any contact from provincial leadership since the state of emergency for the bridge was declared. She has had a phone call with Federal Indigenous Services Minister Patty Hajdu.
She said she was willing to help with the funding the temporary replacement, but right away she reverted to the jurisdictional issue and how that would be something that she can't handle.
Chief Taylor says they continue to search for the quickest and safest way to get a temporary resolution in place. Justin Hardy, TBT News.
A 20-year-old Thunder Bay man is dead following a single vehicle crash between Fort Frances and Atikokan. It happened at around 2:30 Tuesday afternoon on Highway 11. Police, EMS, and fire crews all responded, but the driver was pronounced dead at the scene. The highway was completely closed for around 5 hours and reopened at around 8 o'clock that night. A light snowfall in the Greenstone area on Monday was causing havoc along Highway 11. At least 4 transports lost control and ended up jackknifed or off the highway. One of the crashes involved 2 transports right in the town of Beardmore. The highway was reduced to 1 lane and there were no injuries according to witnesses. Another mishap occurred about 80 kilometers east of Long Lac. The transport was left blocking the entire highway. Eventually, the transport was straightened out and the highway was reopened. Another transport ended up on its side in the ditch between Long Lac and Geraldton. The highway was shut down to 1 lane on Tuesday while crews removed the vehicle. And another vehicle also had to be pulled from the ditch on Monday. This one was west of Geraldton. 55,000 Canada Post workers are officially on strike. That includes 260 employees in our region, which could see some of the greatest challenges because of the labor dispute. Vasilios Bellos reports.
Canada's primary postal service is drawn to a halt.
We are officially on strike.
Canada Post workers walked off the job Friday morning, including the 260 represented by the union in northwestern Ontario. Dozens were on the picket line outside their Alloy Street office throughout the day after a deal couldn't be delivered after more than a year of negotiations. The strike means no Canada Post mail or parcel deliveries will happen in the region until it comes to an end. Local union head Leo Favreau talks about what they're asking for.
We'd like a living wage. We have some health and safety concerns that we'd like addressed. Canada Post would like to make us sound like we're the enemy and everything, but we just want to make Canada Post work. We have some ideas that we wish they would listen to that they won't. Postal banking, community check-ins, stuff like that.
The strike, of course, comes just before the holiday season, the busiest time of year for the Postal Service. There are also concerns the strike may disproportionately affect smaller communities in the region, which are more reliant on their postal service. Favreau talks about the impact having rural letter carriers on strike will have.
They are the only lifeline for a lot of people. They're their only form of communication, and they need their stuff delivered to them. And that's how they get it. It's just that simple.
Union members here in Thunder Bay say there's no indication of how long the strike may last, but they are willing to stick it out as long as they need to ensure a living wage. Vasilios Bellos, TBT News.
Time now for a short break. When we come back, we'll hear why a First Nation is opposing an OPG redevelopment project.
It's important that people understand that Fort William First Nation has never historically opposed to a project in this way.
Fort William First Nation is opposing the redevelopment of the Kekabeka Falls Generating Station. The project is set to start in the spring of 2025, but the First Nation is urging all ministries related to the project to stop issuing permits. Justin Hardy reports.
It's important that people understand that Fort William First Nation has never historically opposed to a project in this way.
Chief Michelle Solomon says her community was blindsided earlier this month by the news that Ontario Power Generation was going ahead with the redevelopment project. The Kekabeka Falls Generating Station is one of the oldest in Ontario and is located on an area of deep historic, cultural, and spiritual significance to Fort William First Nation, according to Solomon. She adds that OPG has failed to engage meaningfully with her community or its leadership.
Fort William First Nation has not supported this project. We've been very clear with OPG on our position. We've met with them, and we have not been able to come to any agreement on moving forward. So to learn that they're moving ahead without addressing our concerns is really concerning for us.
The project is set to start in the spring to expand the generating station's capacity and prolong its lifespan by another 90 years. Solomon says the community is concerned OPG has not completed any archaeological fieldwork on the site. There is a registered burial site on the property, and the First Nation believes there is potential for more archaeological finds and deeply buried artifacts. Solomon explains she is not against the project itself, but the way OPG is going about it. She is hoping the province and OPG will take time to hear their concerns.
The first thing I'd like to see is for the relevant ministries of Ontario to stop any permitting for this project, and that OPG come to the table and do what's right and do the meaningful consultation that they commit to in their own reconciliation action plan, which they're not even following that.
In a statement, Ontario Power Generation says OPG is engaged with ongoing discussions with Fort William First Nation. We continue to engage respectfully as we prepare to redevelop the Kekabeka Falls Generating Station. Justin Hardy, TBT News.
A new food buying alliance has been formed for this region in honor of a treaty that was signed in Winnipeg 1 year ago. The goal is to feed babies and young children along with elders in remote northern communities. A drum ceremony was held in Thunder Bay this week to recognize the new partnerships. Jaden Billick reports.
In December of 2023, An agreement in the form of a treaty formalized the relationship between food bank partners and tribal councils to improve each party's ability to feed elders and babies and anyone else who is hungry. CEO of Wichawemagon Buying Alliance, Randy Jenkins, says, traditionally after a treaty is signed, a drum is built to honor the relationships of those who are part of the living document.
So today the drum was awakened, and in the spring it'll be taken back to the Forks in Winnipeg, which is the traditional gathering place, traditional trading area for the Anishinaabe people. And it's just, this is kind of the first shot at one of these things of this scale. The intention in the room is like something I've never felt before.
Jenkins says this is the first time a treaty has been signed honoring non-First Nation food banks. The goal of all the contributors is to cover every community between Manitoba and Northern Ontario.
Seeing that everybody is working so collaboratively together is very beautiful, because with the recipient being the First Nation communities who are receiving the assistance, whether it be through tribal councils or Indigenous-based organizations, I absolutely think it's phenomenal, because it's been helping us to actually build with the communities instead of building around them.
Northern Network Manager for Food Banks Canada, Jason Stevens, says a total of 350,000 Indigenous and non-Indigenous community members from Winnipeg to Moose Factory have already benefited from this partnership. An estimate of around 500,000 kilograms of food has already been brought into the communities since the treaty was signed.
This is instrumental. This is a big impact to the food bank systems across the nation to have this type of model developed in this region, to bring the communities together to collaborate and working towards one goal is humongous for us. Well, being Anishinaabe for this region, it brings a special moment to us, having this collaboration and having this networking group come together and discuss and bring food security initiatives to the forefront.
Jaden Billick, TBT News.
The Transportation Safety Board has released its final report regarding a small plane which went past the end of the runway in Pikangikum First Nation last September. The mishap caused minimal damage and no injuries. The Superior Airways plane had 1 pilot and 6 passengers on board its flight from Red Lake. The pilot attempted to land in thick fog, and he could not see the end of the runway. The brakes were applied, but reverse thrust was not used. The plane came to rest in grass and bushes about 15 meters past the end of the runway. The tips of the propeller were damaged, but the rest of the plane was intact. Since then, Superior Airways has modified its approach criteria. Pilots must now ensure the runway's full length is visible before landing, with the touchdown being completed in the first 300 meters of the runway. The TSB also recommends using reverse thrust if needed. An area contracting company has created a new logging trailer which promises to make hauling timber more efficient. LBC Contracting's 5-axle hinge trailers are being built by Twin City Industrial and can carry about 7 metric tons more wood than other models. Joel Mendelson has the story.
We're all about hauling wood and not steel.
The innovative 5-axle hinge trailer was designed by Thunder Bay's LBC Contracting. Company president Derek LeGros says the design was inspired by wanting to keep costs down and hauling high.
It's a lot more expensive to maintain the other ones, and the payload just isn't there to what they used to haul back in the day, and also for the mill that have the wood coming into it. It took a long time, but it eventually did catch on to once they found out just how expensive it is to maintain the existing trailers.
LeGros said the most difficult part of the design was the safety tests, but says the trailer did pass with flying colors. The new trailer will be able to carry a payload of 42 metric tons, whereas existing ones generally reach capacity between 36 and 38. The trailers are being manufactured under license by Twin City Industrial. TCI owner Carrie Smart says aside from making the hauling more economical for the loggers, another remarkable aspect of this project is that each step of the manufacturing process is done locally.
The margins have just been getting slimmer and slimmer, so if we can help the contractor deliver more payload per load efficiently, safely, I'm excited to be part of that also. The steel is supplied locally. We're going to deal with Kenworth, which is the local salesman, Derek's local with the design, and then the manufacturing, and all the jobs here will be local.
The first completed model of the 5-axle hinge trailer was just unveiled this week. It's already been purchased by Mooseland Contracting. The company's vice president, Ryan Kapush, says the new trailer will greatly improve their work in the region.
It's going to be more efficient. We're trying to haul more volume with less travel time on the highways. They're building to spec for our roads up here, right? So it's designed specifically for our log hauls that we're doing up here in Northern Ontario.
This trailer is the first of many to come. LeGros says orders are coming in and TCI is ramping up production to meet the demand. Joel Mendelson, TBT News.
Time now for another short break. We'll check out a new tiny home being built by students in the Nipigon area when we come back. First Nations students at Nipigon Red Rock District High School are hard at work building a brand new tiny home. The youth from grades 9 to 12 will have a part in every stage of the build. Justin Hardy has the story.
Nip Rock High School's new Indigenous Skilled Trades training program launched this October with a project to construct a new home for someone in Ganuguming First Nation. The project provides First Nation students with hands-on training and certifications in carpentry and electrical work, all while earning high school credits. The project comes from a partnership between the school, Matawa First Nations Management, Red Rock Indian Band, Binjatwabek Zoging Anishinaabeg, Ganuguming First Nation, Smart Modular Canada, and other partners. Vice Principal Lisa McLeod says this project has many benefits for students.
It won't just be about building the house, it's also about connections to land and culture, but then also certifications and training. So being part of this program, they'll get opportunities to get their working at heights training, they'll get hopefully their skid steer training, their chainsaw, so it'll give them all different exposure to all different trades, working with electricians and plumbers. So, it's going to give them lots of exposure for a potential career, or even just bringing those skills back to their communities.
They get to try out a lot of different skills and things that they're going to learn. They get to try this. I don't expect all these kids to be a full-fledged carpenter when they're done, but they're going to learn the hands-on skills that they need, and that will help choose their pathway for their careers.
The finished product will be 14 feet wide by 40 feet long with a patio. Students will have part in every stage of the build. Many of the students participating say they're definitely considering a career in trades after the project.
So are either of you considering, a potential future in the trades?
I would say so, yeah. I like the hands-on work and everything.
Yeah, I'd say it's more easier doing this.
I actually want to go into the trades after high school.
Awesome. It's making me think about the trades because I never really thought about what I'd do after high school. But it's making me consider some options.
Yeah, I have tech and welding, so I think I might want to do a trade later on.
It's been changing my mind a little bit. I think I've got my career set in stone though.
The project is hoped to be completed by the end of the school year, and the finished home will then be shipped to a family in Ganoogaming. Justin Hardy, TBT News.
2 businesses in the Thunder Bay area have received over $448,000 from the Northern Ontario Heritage Fund to help expand their operations. Local MPP Kevin Holland made that announcement on Thursday. Jessica Clement has the details.
Smart Modular Canada, located in Oliver Papoonge, has received $400,000, while Power System Solutions, located in Rossland, received over $48,000 from the Northern Ontario Heritage Fund. Thunder Bay Atikokan MPP Kevin Holland made the announcement Thursday morning at Smart Modular Canada, saying the investment will help the companies expand their operations and help create good-paying jobs in the region.
It's a great announcement for these 2 businesses in particular, but even across the north and northwest, these announcements are so vital to ensuring that we have the sustainability and the viability and improving our business operations for the jobs in the north that we need. So really excited to be here.
Smart Modular Canada used its portion of the funding to purchase new equipment and renovate its facility to help increase production. The company now has a new automated crane system to help move parts around the building, along with a new truss table. CEO Bill Bolton expects they'll be able to double their production capacity.
So once the wall and floor tables are in, for instance, the wall table will allow us to build the walls here and put the drywall on it and a vapor barrier all in one space, and the crane system will help us to move that to the next station where all the interior walls are already pre-built and drywalled as well. To do that saves a huge amount of a bottleneck that we have at the other end of the shop where they're trying to carry 4x8 sheets of drywall through the doorways and put them in the house and all that kind of thing, so it really will speed up that process and improve our quality.
Power System Solutions also used its grant to purchase newer equipment, which Representative Nathan Middleton says will allow them to expand their portfolio of services to include electrical testing.
We support heavy electrical power users, industrial generation, mining, for their ongoing operation. So we got new equipment to help with some advanced testing of their power systems to increase reliability.
Jessica Clement, TBT News.
That's all for this edition of Northwest Newsweek. We'll be back next week with more of the top stories from across the Northwest.